Hey guys, this is going to be a very brief little life update type of video. I posted on the community tab, which I now have access to, so if you haven't been following me there, you can now kind of see updates that I post on there. I've been posting things, not extensively, but just a few things to keep everyone updated when I kind of disappear, as I'm wont to do when things happen and life kind of goes awry. And that's what happened. I posted about my grandmother's passing. If you've been following for a while, you know that I have two elderly parents and I had a frail, aging grandmother. She had Alzheimer's. It was a very natural death. She was 92, so it was, expected. But still, it's sad and tragic in its own way. Honestly, I have been grieving her loss for a few years now because her Alzheimer's took a very serious turn for the worse back in 2020 when both her and my mom had COVID. And while my mom recovered and came back to herself, my grandmother lost whatever was left of her cognitive abilities at that point. That was it. It was, if you hear scratching, that's Figgy. Figgy Lee, please. So she lost all her cognitive ability, her ability to walk, and was bedridden essentially for the last 2.5, almost 3 years. It wasn't at the start of, actually it was 2021. 2020 saw the immediate decline when she could no longer go to her daycare service. She used to go to adult daycare. It kept her, brain processing. That shut down in the pandemic, and she never got to go back to that because her mental decline got to the point where we couldn't really trust her to be anywhere else. And then once her and my mom had COVID in 2021, that was it. So essentially since July of 21, she had been bedridden. She was in excellent health otherwise. All the doctors would tell us and, tell, even up until the end, she had a checkup the week before, and my mom had been told she's in great health. The only thing is, Alzheimer's. She has extremely advanced Alzheimer's. So we expected it. I had been going through my own grief process for a while. I always knew that the call would come. My mom called me on the weekend before. It was, I think, January 7th. It was the day before I was set to go back to work from vacation. So that first week I was running around, going to and fro from my mom's house to work, or to work and then to my mom's house, just to be there in case it happened. That Friday is finally when I had actually taken a day off to do some groceries for my mom, take care of a few things for her so that she wouldn't have to worry about those. And while I was doing groceries that morning, it was 7 a.m. because I got up at the crack of dawn and headed out. I got the call from my mom that it was probably going to happen. The nurses had told her this is it, she's starting. It took a few hours. It took about 12 hours after that. She didn't actually pass until the evening, so it was a very natural death. We were there with her. I was holding my mom while she held her hand. My partner came. He left work and arrived as it was happening. A few of the neighbors came, so, it was it's what you would like from, a natural death that involves as little pain as possible. She was on hospice at home. So that happened, and it was life. My mom is now going through the grieving process. I took a week off. The combination of bereavement and vacation and sick leave that I have in order to be able to really attend to my mom, to help her work through her grief and the funeral process. We had luckily taken care of all the funeral arrangements in advance because honestly we thought it was going to happen a long time ago. So that had been taken care of. I will say that the funeral industry financial situation is insane. It is just madness. We had a very, very small service package. She was also interned in a mausoleum as opposed to buried. That is a cheaper option. Obviously, cremation is one of the cheapest options, but my mom was against that. And it was still multiple thousands of dollars, even at that time, and had since We were told after, because they do like an analysis of like, this is what you paid, this is what you would have paid had you like done this all today. And it was a solid like $5,000 less that we paid, having taken care of this a few years ago. Let me silence this before my mom sends more messages. So that happened, and that's why I was away for a little bit. I intended to have like a like what's going on in 2024, life update and goals type of a video, that didn't happen. Or I mean, it kind of told you guys a little bit about what my plans were for the year in the previous videos, but essentially I am taking a back track on my goals. I had intended for a lot of the beginning of this year to be a real focus on my health because I need it. I'm still actively working through burnout. I am engaging in a very slow lifestyle, and among the things that I have to look into are, the several health conditions that have, that I just have to regularly monitor. And following that big migraine attack that I had in December, I need to get my thyroid checked. I was supposed to actually have it checked the day of the funeral. I had to move that up. So this Friday, I will be getting that checked. I will say I am severely inflamed and have been for a little bit. I am feeling very swollen and going through some stuff. Is it my thyroid? Is it my migraines? Is it the very severe allergic reaction I had to being in my mom's house surrounded by dust? Possibly. But I am definitely feeling it in my body. My TSH was 6.35, which is not normal. That's definitely active, like hypothyroidism, even though I've been pretty steady. Again, we don't know. It might have been because they took my blood in the middle of the night, and so it was not around the time when my body was regulating properly. That can be a factor in thyroid testing. The time of day that you test can affect your TSH levels. But short of it is, I need to address my health and wellness overall. I have been doing yoga with Nico Marie. She has her 30-day program that many people do, but I really wanted something that was very much in tune with like mental wellness and physical wellness and like spiritual healing, and her series really taps into that, and I've been really enjoying it. So that has been really nice and nurturing, especially in this time. There were a few days where I fell behind, so technically, even though today's like day 24, I'm only on like day 19 or something like that. But I will continue and I will wrap it up. And I'm going back to basics. When I first started my fitness journey many years ago, it started with walking and yoga and Pilates. It was actually, weirdly enough, a book talk that I had to host for Eat, Pray, Love that led me to like really getting involved in yoga and Pilates. And then from there it just spawned. I started with like one yoga video that I liked, and then I dabbled into Pilates, and this was back in the days of like DVDs because YouTube wasn't really a big thing yet. So obviously now I have many more options. I have just been bringing this back into my life. I started bringing Pilates back into my life about a year ago, and like so grateful for the weird TikTokification of Pilates and making it like blow up in the last year because it gives me a lot of options to work with. So I discovered a lot of new names and just practices that have been really helpful in my process. But again, just engaging in that gentle movement, but also resistance training, because I know that that's important to me. After my arm situation, I had a hard time lifting heavy weights, so I just haven't really gotten back to that. That is apparently my Instant Pot has gone off and told me my rice is ready. So I will take that as a sign to speed through this. But anyhow, I'm doing that. I'm taking care of myself, and I'm trying to get back to a state of movement and physical wellness that feels good to me, and working on this mess of what the heck is going on with my hormonal health. I don't know what's going on. I need to work on it and just see what happens, and address it with my doctor and see if it's a fluke or if something's really going on and I need to have my meds adjusted, which has happened before and may happen again, so we'll see what goes on there. But writing is taking a little bit of a side track right now. I have so much other stuff to do. I had actually dedicated NaNoWriMo to professional writing last year, and I had dedicated much of December to editing and working on professional stuff in, you know, my career that actually pays me. And that may have to continue to be the case. I'm not sure that I'm quite ready to get deep into writing, but I did just pay for Sarah Cannon's Publish and Thrive series of workshops. I would like to look more seriously into the self-publishing options even while I continue careering, because if one well dries up, I am seriously considering the other, and I want to be fully prepared for that. Still TBD what happens there, but more seriously looking into self-publishing now. And if I decide to go up for promotion this year, I'm also going to need a lot of time, just the way that my area in academia works. It's a process, so I need to dedicate time to that. So essentially, a lot of my creative endeavors may be taking a little back step while I focus on like my professional career and my health overall. So fingers crossed. Let me know if you're on a health journey or a professional journey, a change of pace in your life or career or anything, and I will check in with you guys later. Hopefully a much more cheerful video, or at least a more upbeat one. But, you know, life is like this, and grieving is just a very real part of it. So hug your loved ones, and I will see you guys later.